Writing a novel feels like creating an entire world. And if you're anything like me, you're going to spend a lot of time maybe on tools or sites like Pinterest, and you're going to, this is where I start. I create pins and I gather inspiration of who my characters are and what the worlds are going to be like. And then from that, move into getting organized. And that is where I frequently start to have issues because I am never satisfied with writing software. And if you're like most of the authors out here, frankly, if you're like most people who check out new cars every 6 months or a new pen for your notebook or a new suit of clothes every 3 weeks, then for me, for us as authors, it is checking out new software to know what's out there. So I've pulled together a list of all of the software that I have tested because every 6 months I consistently forget what is out there. We're going to go through all of them today. I'm going to walk through all of them with you, and I'm going to share with you what I think, what I love, what I don't like, maybe why I'm not using them, and what I'm coming back to. And we'll start with the one that I'm currently using, and then we will work our way down through the ones I dislike to the ones at the end that are basically just some of the nicest note-taking apps. Now, most of us are probably doing what most of us are doing, and we're using Google Docs, Microsoft Word, and I think that's a phenomenal that works. That obviously works. Now, is it creating an experience of you entering into your world? That's kind of what I want to create. So here are the things that I am looking for. I want an amazing writing experience. Okay. Word or Docs can work and you can get used to it. But what if there are better options? Okay. I want a writing experience that is beautiful. I want the ability to world build, meaning if I have snippets of ideas and notes and thoughts and pictures and websites, and I just want to brain dump and mind map everything, it's partly my work style because I'm chaotic and whatever. I would like the ability to world build. I'd like the ability to write completely offline so that, for example, I wake up first thing in the morning, I come to my station, and I can just get into writing and not go online because, let's face it, when you get into Chrome or your favorite browser, you are Pavloved to be distracted and to get into new tabs, and it can be very hard to get in the flow, stay in the flow. So ideally, internet is off or I'm just not even online at all. I like that feature. And lastly, I want the freedom, well, second to last, I want the freedom to be able to export everything and not have it be locked in. I want it to be exportable so that I can easily use it afterwards if I decide the tool is not for me. And then lastly, I want something for free. Now, partly because a lot of us don't have a whole lot of disposable income. I rarely do. And also, there might be like 6 months periods where I'm not writing anything and I don't want to be paying for a software or for something that I am not using. So free is really nice. If I can make it or find something that is free, but also as importantly, I want to be able to experience the whole thing before I buy it. It's 2025, everybody. We shouldn't be gating stuff. Uh, Try no card free trials, you know? So let's get into this list. There's like, now I've forgotten 23 of these in here. I want to start with the one that I actually started with. It's called Milanote. If you've never heard of it, as they say, get organized, stay creative. It's like a Pinterest board. It's like an organization mind mapping thing. You can make connections between pins and stuff, as they say, the Evernote for creatives. I have really enjoyed this tool. This is actually where I started with my first novel. I loved the ability to create my own deck the way that it was making sense for me at the time. I could drop in my own pictures. I could put my books in here. I could put my characters. Now, you can write in here, and it's kind of got a nice writing experience. It is not as extensive or as powerful as actual book writing software, but this is an awesome mind mapping place. So I loved the ability. For example, I've got these all of my characters, right? I drop them in. I can create these notes and pins, and I can stack them inside columns, right? I loved the freedom of being able to do this. This felt like I am building out my own wiki, I'm building out my own world. Now, it's a little thing. One of the downsides of this is it's not the easiest way to be able to share this with other people afterwards. So for books, I then created columns and I dropped my scenes inside my columns. You know, you can drag and drop these around. I thought that was a pretty cool uh, way to organize this. Here, for example, is what a writing document can look like. Okay, you've got nifty little organization features here on the side, and it's just got this pop up, and then you can just keep writing right in here. Not going to give you neat chapter organization. So You can use it for novel organization, wouldn't necessarily use it for novel writing. Now, I am using of late this tool, Obsidian. Part of the reason why I'm making this video is because I am trying to get away from Obsidian, not because it's anything wrong with it, largely because I kind of want something that is definitely built for fiction authors, something built for writing novels. And this is very good and it works. So here's an example of how I am using Obsidian. You can use it for neat organization on the side. You can put your chapters in here. I've got just straight up writing. It is an essentials basic writing experience. So that's exactly all I need. It works offline. It does allow me to create my characters and, drop ideas in and stuff like this. You can just, again, copy and paste pictures and drop them in. You can mind map and organize as messily as you need to or as intensely as you need to, right? I love this feature of it. It's got a dark mode. It has a whole bunch of extra plugins that you can put in. Um, Largely because it works, I'm therefore not satisfied, and I want to keep exploring and seeing what's out there. And also, there have continued to be other pretty awesome new tools. So that's what we're going to keep exploring. So Obsidian really works. Everybody knows and loves Scrivener. It is the OG in the space. This is a tool that I have never used, largely because I never had the income for it and I just made do with what's out there. So if you are familiar with it or you have used it and you've enjoyed it, I noticed actually just the other day that the entire writing interface has been completely refreshed. It now looks a whole lot more modern. It used to look very 1990s, largely because it looked like that. I never used it. Now, I confess when I look at this, it's very dense, and this is part of my self is I'm a writing snob. I like to have not writing snob, I'm a design snob because I work in graphic design. I love things to look absolutely beautiful. Obsidian looks very nice. This, if you're not careful, can look very dense. Now, people will probably argue it just depends on how you want to set up and put your thing together. It can be as complicated as possible or simple as possible, I'm sure. It's not a tool that I have used, but it's a really good one to know that is out there. Let's keep moving on. Novelcrafter. Okay, Novelcrafter is a tool that I love their design. Here's the thing that annoys me about a bunch of the others that we're going to get to here in this um, uh, adventure. I can't stand the branding on some of them. It is too strong. When I am creating a world, I want to feel like I am getting straight into building my world. And I don't want anything interfering with it. I want it to feel like the world that I am crafting. So what I like most about Novel Crafter is that its setup from a brand standpoint is very minimal. Now, when you're looking at this, initially my mind just goes, way too much to think about. Because this is the other thing. I don't want to have to get a master's degree in somebody else's writing style or method of writing. And a lot of these will bring you really, really good suggestions. Out the gate, I don't want to learn anything new, especially if I am with book and I'm in the middle of all of the inspiration and I just want to get into it. Show you what it's like on the inside. So once you go in, let's sign in here. Very nice and neat setup. I really like how light this looks. All right, so let's jump into what it's like with a book. All right, it can stay very neat and simple. On the left here, you're going to have your codex, and this is where you're going to create things like your character. So let's do, I don't know, John Doe, and let's upload a picture. I don't know, let's do yours truly. And we can do a short summary, an amazing hero, something like this. And now look at that, we have the character sitting on the side. And that's kind of nice. So this codex is all of the bits and pieces of your world, objects and items, lore, subplots, other. So that's actually kind of helpful. You can also collapse this. Here is where you're going to start writing your scenes. Now, this is something, it takes a second, but it's actually kind of a helpful thing for organizing. So let's say there's Act 1, where you're inside a chapter, and a chapter is made up of scenes, if that is your writing style. For me, I frankly do one scene per chapter, but that's not everybody. So we might go something like this. The character enters, the portal, right? Portal. And then we're going to go, let's do a new scene. I don't know. She meets a fawn, because we all know what we're doing here. Then her brother enters the wardrobe. All right, that's chapter 1. Now let's do chapter 2. What else happens in chapter 2? The High King, I don't know, rebels. We're on a roll here. And we can create a new scene, scene 2, and we can just keep adding chapters and adding scenes. So that's kind of a helpful way to actually get organized from the get-go. Now, what a kind of anyhow, it's just going to keep adding scenes like this until you get this massive database of your book. Then when you head over to write, now here's the part that throws me initially. It just looks busy, especially if you're used to something like a Word document. When you have your codex open and you have this writing area here in the center, and let's say codex, and I'm going to add a character. Okay, so my character, John Doe. So John opened the wardrobe. Okay, we're here, we're writing chapter 1, here's scene 1. And it's really helpful. Over on the side, you're going to have the details of all of your scenes, kind of like this. But if you were to open this, you've got this nice little flyout of all of your character and their information or the world or the stuff that you've just pulled up. Now, thing is, it's now looking really, really dense. There's a lot of stuff that you can now do with it. Part of what makes Novelcrafter very helpful is it has AI built into it to help you with your creativity. Now, you could move that over here to the left and then keep all of your writing over on one side. Let's say you just close it and you collapse that. It's not awful. It is nice. For me, it's just still way too dense. If you do focus and then pull out of focus, the entire right side hides away. I kind of wish this left sidebar would also hide away. And I don't know, it would just look a lot simpler. So as you can see, planning is really nifty. I like the idea of the codex. That's really nifty. What this does not let me do, kind of the way I'm looking to do, is it doesn't let me world build and mind map. And frankly, as we keep going through a lot of these, it's just not going to do that. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. But like the idea that you can do all of this, and the pricing is really affordable. So I'm on a subscription trial, and then it's $40 a year, $4 a month. And I mean, it's pretty affordable. $4 a month, that kind of works. All right, let's keep moving on. Now, Chapterly, as of this video, looks like an absolutely amazing tool. It looks like it has this beautiful kind of sidebar feature, a way to nest things and get organized. Look at this. There's a mind mapping thing. There's um, character, I don't know, generators inside. It looks like a beautiful writing experience. This tool, though, as I'm trying to get into it, I think they're going through a massive upgrade and I'm unable to get in. So if you are familiar with it and you have a great time, please let me know in the comments. I would like to come check this out. It's $10 a month. That's not awful for somebody who is not yet a professional writer. Maybe that's hitting up to the edge of what I can afford to do, but it has a ton of additional features that are in it, such as, well, as they say, creating, publishing, and monetizing. So there's a lot that is possible with Chapterly, it seems. Haven't tested it, just good to know about. With Chapterly and with Novelcrafter and Scrivener works offline, Obsidian does, Milanote does not. Again, ideally, I want something that works offline. I could probably run it as a web app on my desktop, but and that's probably as close as you can get. So Spear does not work offline. Spear has a very intense organizing structure. There's not the world building that I'm looking for. We can just straight up sit here and just watch this guy's preview. I've played around with it a little bit. It is actually very cool how you build a world up from all of your notes and ideas, and you structure them. You literally structure them in tables and you add tags, and then you merge all of that together to actually create your story. So if you're somebody who is highly organized, I'm sure this is probably a dream come true. Spear has one of the most beautiful and neat layouts. I wish I would be able to learn or have the ability to get into using it, because I am a sucker for good design, and this thing is just beautifully done. Um, Again, this just comes down to writing style. I'm more of a free writer. I like to organize just enough to where I can get into the actual writing of the thing. When I see this level of organization, it just doesn't work for me. So this is why I am not using Spear. Now, the pricing is actually it's very good. It's a little higher than what I'd be comfortable doing. So I would, for me, need to be absolutely sure that it's going to be awesome. And it is. The writing experience and everything in here is genuinely amazing. So check it out and have a moment poking around with it. I'd show you, but I don't really have anything exciting to to really demo. And this website actually does an awesome job of demoing it. Okay. Now, Lattics is a very interesting tool in that it is a note organization tool. It's a bit like Obsidian. It does work offline, so that's kind of cool. It's got a beautiful writing experience, which is also very nice. Um, and it's basically free, which is pretty unbeatable. I was literally messing around with it to see what it could do and what I liked about it. It's structured very similarly to Obsidian. I like how the control that you have over these sidebars. So, for example, I created a novel. You can drop in examples of well, you can do things like checklists, which is kind of helpful. You can drop in pictures, you can drop in information. Um, you can just keep making your chapters right here on the side. So that is quite helpful. Come down here, for example, to characters. It's also very nice. I was able to take a ton of my files from Obsidian and just import them straight into this, and it mostly worked and did a pretty nice job. You just have to go through and do a little bit of editing. So you can nest folders inside of folders, which is very nice. You've got I created a folder for world building, as you can see, and ideas. What's going for it? It has beautiful design. It's got organization essentials. It's free. It works offline. And for most authors, that would probably be incredible to be able to have something like this. Now you can also tag things, and it's a nice, way to organize. Again, for me, because I am so visual and a little more chaotic, I still like the idea of having like a Miro board or something that allows me to mind map or just drop pictures in or still get organized because I'm still hashing through. I've got like 30 seconds between things. Here's a cool idea, drop it straight in. You could do it with this. I just love to see the visual nature of the world, the experience, the immersion. I don't exactly get that. But you might have an absolutely different need, and this might actually work for you. That is Lattics, and it is, as it says, a knowledge base. You can also use it for creative writing. It does have things like cards and notes and stuff on the side. The cards are not as helpful as creating like a database of cards or creating cards and then storing them in folders. It just creates a time-stamped list of all of your note-taking cards. It's primarily an academic tool. Let's move on to Anytype. Now, I actually really like Anytype. I don't like the design of their website. It doesn't communicate almost anything of how cool I think their app actually is. So here is an example of something you can mess around with Anytype. So I created sections here on the side. You create like a space here. I've called it story because it's genius. I've created a collection here and I've called it manuscript. And then I've put chapters. Okay. What I love about this is that you can put a nice little header art. You can even add like an icon, for example, and then the icon shows up here. It's got a bit of a Notion feel. I have not used Notion. That's one of those tools I just haven't ever slowed down to figure out. So easy to just keep creating chapters like this. Chapter, what is it? Chapter 5. Look at that. Automatically adds it to the end. Very nice. Now you can also create collections, which is like I don't know, looks like a Notion data set. And then you can add new objects, new collections of inside these collections, which is quite helpful. See it automatically. I've got it added here. I think I've got the view set to be a little larger. I like the larger sense of like, oh, here's all of the stuff that I'm working on. If you go into worlds, here's my harbor, and you can add your there you go. It's, same sort of thing. You're dealing with like pages that can get nested in collections, and it's very neat to be able to organize them. Now, I've set up the template for my characters to have like this round thing and it's in the center. And this would be the entire profile of, let's say, the character that I'm working on. Let's go to this other one, for example, Evelyn. Maybe there's no header art, right? And you just have the big bio right in here. So neat. I love how neat this all comes together. Plus, I've also got like a little collection added here for all of my characters and all my worlds, and I might have all of my objects sitting there. And if it ever becomes too much or I don't need to see it, I can also just collapse all of these. All object is obviously going to show you everything that you've created that's sitting in here. Also, you can drag and drop and resort these, for example, chapters, which is really helpful when you change your mind afterwards. Now, here's something I love about this. You can now create a new space, and it's going to be for my new epic book, and I'm going to create from scratch. And then I might go in here and then just set it all up exactly the way I did the other one. What I love about this is you now can create the feeling of here's one book that I'm working on, one world. Now I'm going to go into, let's say, my other world. And it's like jumping Discord spaces or something. And you might have a list of these running all the way down the side. So this works free, basically. They have a paid tier, a paid plan, but it is largely free. It works offline. It has a beautiful writing experience. And we can go here and then export, and you can include files, include everything. So I like the freedom of being able to move anywhere. So Anytype is it's a tool I really like. I like the organization features. So next one is Craft. Now, Craft is just very cool, very well designed, fantastic for organizing. As you can see, it's organizing your life. You can use it for everything, tasks, to-dos, and you can also use it for writing fiction. So I'm going to pull it up. It is a nifty little app, and it is free, and it runs, well, it is mostly free. They have very nice free margins, and then you pay. So I've created a space here called a team that I've called novels, and that's where I'm organizing the novel ideas that I'm working on. And I've got basically they call it like a document. You can think of it maybe like a folder. And then inside that folder, you can have multiple little folders, all kinds of files and tons of other documents, and you just organize everything. Or you can just have like a massive row of documents right in here. So let's jump in and have a look at this one. I've got my cover art, first thing that I see when I jump in, um, concept anyway. Here is an idea, maybe for what chapter one could be, and you can just keep writing right in here. Beautiful, simple writing experience. They do have a little sidebar we can toggle out. Let's have a look at formatting. You can tweak and change the formatting, and then they have a bunch of different style options. So you can like remove the background, or you can put your own photo in the background to feel that little bit more immersive into the world that you're creating, right? Or you can do it just color gradient, immersive or faded, whatever. Very nice. They also have a bunch of different organizing themes that you can pick that are going to theme your entire document. So let's just try this one, for example. Let's apply this style, and it just looks nice. So let's go back up to the top level, and you can apply that format at, at that level of the thing. Now, here's the nice thing is you can create these card clusters, and then you can make them look like folders. Um, there's this lovely little card style option, and you can pick how these look. So let's say we use the long version, and then there you go, right? Let's head into it. I've added two cards. Here's a card for a Jane Doe. I only just realized I put a deer there. That's kind of funny. Here is a John Doe. You can have his picture and then whatever, lots of information down below. And then if we want to add a new card, just go like this, drag a new card in. Yeah, let's do this style. That looks too narrow. Let's make it taller. So we'll go to this other version. Maybe that's too tall. I don't know. Let's try it. That fits. So if we come in here, we can add an image. I'm just going to grab, let's do an image from Unsplash, and we're going to call this Mark Dane, I guess. And we'll go back to characters. There we go. Look at Mark Dane. We now have a new character, and it's so neatly organized. Come back to here, and it's dynamically updating the little icon. I will do, if I do large, and then I go back to my novels area, the picture will then fill this area, and so it looks more like my bookshelf. So on the left down here, you can see it's got two more docs that I can create. And then after that, it's a little pricey, maybe 10 bucks a month for one person, but it works offline, and they have very generous free margins as a organizing tool. Might be something you'll really enjoy. So Craft is excellent. to know about. All right, let's keep going. First Draft is an awesome looking tool. Again, this is one of those ones where I love the design. Okay. The pricing is not too bad. It is free, but only up to 50K words. After that, it's 10 bucks a month. So if we log in, I think I was kicking it around. It doesn't have the organizing tools that I'm looking for. And frankly, there is a problem with, as far as I'm concerned, this sidebar. So let's enter into this example book here. You can get the chapter outline. You can start organizing. You can add scenes. This is similar to the other book. There we go. See, we're adding new scenes to this chapter and then keep adding chapters. Um, they have locked down things like this plot outline. You can head over to the manuscript. It's a nice writing experience. You can pull up all of your scenes on the side. As you can see, this over here looks very similar to, I think it was Novelcrafter and its layout functionality. Um, if you're not used to working that way, it can look very busy. Now, this over here on the left, I frankly can't stand this. They're constantly letting you know where you are, and this sidebar does not go away. And I hate this experience of the upgrade sitting here. It just, I don't know, kills my flow. You can collapse this sidebar. Kind of wish you could do that over here too. You might be able to do it offline, and then you can sync it online and export everything to Google Drive. That's pretty helpful. So in terms of design, this is a good tool. Word building and organization, not so much. Outlining and writing the actual process of writing, this looks like it could do very well. Novellr is one of the OGs in the writing app. There is a ton that it offers. It has been around for a very long time. As far as pricing goes, it is free up to 5 projects, which for a lot of us is also very nice. $6 a month. That's very affordable. It's a little bit busy, but it'll probably start making sense once you get into it. So you can add a cover in here. I was starting the writing experience. Everything kind of fades away, which is very nice until you start clicking around. You can see timestamps and options and chats and comments and stuff. It's very nice that it just gets right into that mode. I think that's very cool. And you can collapse this sidebar. So very neat and nice writing experience. Doesn't work offline from what I can tell. Uh, no real organizing. It's purely for writing. So this is a very calming, classy looking tool. All right, let's have a look at tailors. I love at first the what we're seeing with how this tool looks. Neat organizing, tagging, comments and tasks and things on the side. The center seems like it's very clean. No real mind mapping or organizing approach. Honestly, the pops of color in the design and how sleek it is seems like it's a really nice setup. And a lot of what's in here is really quite nice. Downside is I absolutely can't stand how it rasterizes the heck out of any image you upload to this header area. Now, you could actually just straight up delete it and upload your picture right into the body copy. So that can work too. We could just put that at the top, for example. So that can work. So you got your characters. You can create a bunch of characters over here. Sometimes it meshes them up. Sometimes it doesn't. You can keep adding items like so. You can create folders. So this could be locations, right? Worlds, and you could drop that in here. What's nice is then you do get a not a mind map, but it feels a little more visual. I kind of wish it would show the people's faces or something right up here. But the manuscript area is very neat and easy to write in, and you can jump between the different novels. It does allow you to export. Does not work offline. It's an online tool. Again, half of these you could probably run them as a local app. Um, So if it had a nicer job with the images, I think I would enjoy that more because I'm so visual. I confess I like the pop in the logo. I wish a lot of the rest of this did not have so much. The brand wasn't so present. This is something I like about Spear, for example, where its brand is very calm and in the background and very, very quiet. All right. Motif is another very nice looking tool. It does not let you upload pictures on the free plan. It's got a nice writing experience, very good for organizing. As you can see, it's got a nifty little sidebar, and we'll log in and have a quick look. frankly, it ends up being very busy. And even if you close these things, let's say we close all of this, uh, this writing is way too wide. Nobody writes lines that are this long. Frankly, the design should be a little more improved. Um, Now, there is a focus mode, and it just looks like I'm writing in a text file, and that's not very. Frankly, the eye prefers to read a length that's a bit more like this. That's the length of distance of an actual page. It mostly looks good. You can create all of these little characters, these story elements. I like this. This kind of layout is kind of nice. You can keep adding cards to your character. That's pretty cool. You can't upload pictures until you pay. And then Motif Pro is $5 a month. So it's pretty affordable. It's not a bad tool. I don't love it. It's not one of those tools I absolutely love, but it looks like it could be a good one and you might enjoy it. Novelize is again one of the OGs that is out there. And frankly, I've tested it, sat with it a couple of times. I am not wild at all about the writing experience. If you have never tested it, give it a go. Get novelize.com. It is pretty affordable, I think. Yeah, $9 a month. But I honestly am not wild about the design. It's all gray. It's like the actual writing experience is like it doesn't even reach your eyes because it's so faded. And then it's got this almost violent orange running across everything. At this point, bit of a crime. How much the novelized brand is trying to stay on your mind. It's like, no, I want my novel to stay on my mind. So all right, let's move on to Sudowrite. This is one I've learned of about a year ago. It has a whole ton of AI in it. Apparently, it's super helpful. And they've built a new thing called Muse that helps to craft fiction. I think the focus of this specific tool is to help, is for you to use AI to help you craft your novel. So, um, pricing I think is pretty affordable. It's about $10, but there is a very heavy focus on the use of using AI. When we log in, we have a look. Let's check out this. Okay, here's my immediate problem. I can't write. For me, I can't write in an environment like this. There's not, okay, there is a canvas where I can drop and organize things, and that's actually pretty helpful. This hits some of the mind mapping that I want to get done. So that's actually really nice. You can drop images and pictures in there. You can add new documents, create a folder. You can nest information and things on the side. Frankly, I don't like this writing experience. There is way too much going on. Even if we start collapsing everything, it's not as nice a writing experience as some of these other tools that we've seen. But if it works for you, you might absolutely love the colors, love the style, and just get right into it. Now, for me, I'm not wild about it. So, yeah, you can hide almost everything, which is pretty cool. If you're someone like me where you're just bursting with tons of notes that you're taking and sort of thoughts and cards and you're just like all over the place and you need something to help you get organized, this is a tool for writing specific ideas. I don't see this yet as a tool where I could be able to mind map and brainstorm and have everything be neatly organized into folders. I think it feels like this couldn't handle the kind of world building that a lot of us authors get up to, where we're building massive worlds. So I may be wrong. Okay, Autocrit is a tool a friend has recommended to me, and if we go in and we check out just the free version to see what the experience is like, it's apparently one of they say it's built to make you a brilliant writer. It has very nice AI in it that helps summarize and give you feedback and so on. The design is kind of nice. We can have a look at this section. I was starting an idea. Quite frankly, this looks like, and I think it's intended to be, a replacement or an alternate for Microsoft Word or for Google Docs. And those tools, those experiences are fine when you're using those. Quite frankly, I cannot stand the fact that there is so much going on in here. They've got loads of little things padlocked over on the side. There's this, upgraded pro sitting up here. If I'm just trying out and trying to get immersed into the free version, this is not really selling me to continue. Um, it looks like you can create multiple chapters, but in terms of being able to mind map and organize, I'm not seeing that ability. I can't, doesn't look like I can see the ability to create lots of, nested folders and just sort of short idea cards. And which some of these other tools would allow you to do. So if you've never used Autocrit, you can check it out. It is going to collaborate with you to help you and give you feedback and give you tools for revision and for editing. I have not used it, but it's one that I just briefly tested out. I'm not wild about it. You might be. This one here, Storywriter Pro, I did download and test it out, and I removed it pretty quickly. It does work offline. They allow you to use it. Um, so $50, you can download a test version. It lets you create 3 chapters and 9 scenes, but you can't export anything. It's not bad at all. My problem with it is that it feels like it's only going to let you work on one novel. Now, it is possible that the paid version opens up more folders and more nested things, but just from testing the free version, it looks like if I have only one novel in me, this might be helpful. Could be a software with potential. It feels a little bit entry level. Okay, we've covered through a ton of the novel grade softwares that are out there. Each of them has strengths, each of them has weaknesses. Again, I'm looking for world building capabilities. I want beautiful design, ideally works offline, as free or as close to free as possible, especially while I'm testing it. And it gives me the freedom to be able to leave whenever I want to. So if you've never used Evernote, let's have a quick look at this. This is one of the OGs. I started in this way back. I wrote stories in this, documents. It's not very good with the mind mapping, although they actually they looks like they have that feature now. I did not have that back when I was using it like, I don't know, 7 years ago or something like this. 15 bucks a month. So a little pricey, but it is a pretty excellent tool. My problem with it is exporting either goes to HTML or to PDF. Frankly, I would like a little more control over being able to export things. I mean, if I'm writing like a book or an idea or stories and stuff, and then export everything to a PDF, like I can't use that. Or everything is in HTML. I suppose you could import that into a Word document pretty easily. Um, for me, I would prefer things to be exported in stuff like Word documents or text files and nest all the images in folders and something like that. So they may have improved. I haven't gone back to look at this in a long time. If you have a better recommendation or review for Evernote to maybe change my mind, please do. But it's not a tool that I would go back to. There is a tool called Reedsy. Now, I use Reedsy not for writing books, but for getting my books ready for print. So I'll take my manuscript from somewhere, drop it in here. It just is so beautiful. It works so easily. You can just drop it straight in and then hit the export, and it'll generate a PDF ready for print publication or give you an EPUB that you can upload to something like Kindle. This is the tool that is free that I love to use. It does have a downside where it will freeze if I do too much editing all at once or something, or just for some random reason. I'll then have to refresh and then try again. That is frankly very annoying. But it does work, and you can allow other people to come in and comment and read and give some feedback. And so for a free tool, this is very helpful. I would not use it for writing my novel, given my experience with it and how it keeps crashing. But for organizing and layout, it's basically a free alternative to Atticus or Vellum, which I've not used, but I just know about. Now, I don't have Mac, and this tool, everything basically for Apple, looks like it's the most beautiful thing that's ever been designed half the time. I love the sleek, neat, beautiful organization of Bear. Now, because it's not accessible to me, I can't use that because I'm on Windows. So there is an alternate, which is called Upnote, and it looks basically the same, and it does work pretty beautifully. Now, it doesn't have any of the mind mapping stuff, but it does work offline. It has a gorgeous experience. It's a bit like Evernote in that you've got your left sidebar and then you've got your kind of chapter sort of list here. I love the fact that when you put in a little picture, it gives you this little thumbnail. I just love that little bit of extra immersion. Um, and you can, as you can see, put your header notes. If you create a notebook, you can upload a cover to your notebook, so it looks like you're creating your world of, of books and so on. Here, for example, is my use of Upnote. So I've got, for example, this novel. I started putting information in. You can drop in, the writing experience is very sleek. It's very neat. I love the fact that it's constrained. Whoever did this designs the length of easy text reading. You can drop in pictures, and then as you can see, it creates this instant little sneak peek over on the side. Here, for example, is my character. I was building out characters and book outlines and stuff like this. um, I love the fact that it's it creates something that is more visual. So it's writing the line between pure text and then actual visualizing. Now, downsides is if I am absolutely nuts over my ideas, the mind mapping aspect that we saw from Milanote or a Miro board or Obsidian, this is not going to do. But this might be absolutely perfect for what you want to do. You can also export these things. So you can take your entire notebook and you can export, and it'll export everything. So I can walk away however I want. You can export it to text and then save it somewhere, export as separate documents or a single document. That's actually really helpful. So I love the fact that it works offline. Now it does have a fee, which I remember paying years back almost immediately. It was about 40 bucks one-time fee. So I did pay that. And it's just sitting. I am in my my computer and I'm not using it yet. Yeah, 2 bucks a month or $40 lifetime. So for something that just looks beautiful, works offline, is going to allow me to create a ton of, a ton of characters and so on. If you have a massive lineup of characters, it's probably not going to be as easy to see them all at once. If you're somebody who's looking for kind of a wiki-like experience, which Obsidian can do, this is not going to do it. If you just want something that's going to feel streamlined and a beautiful writing experience, I think Upnote could be a really excellent tool. Last one to share with you is a tool called Pensive, where you can write, publish, and share your books with ease. Now, you can't sell through this website, but you can write and share, so it could be nice perhaps for beta readers, or if you just have a book that you're giving away for free. So if we go ahead and log in, you can get this instant sense of building your own library of books. Let's go into one of them. We've got the book cover. You can download. It'll generate. I love this. Download an EPUB, download a PDF. Now, I don't think it'll be print ready or set up for print, and you can then send it to your Kindle, which is pretty nice. You can add a section. A section is like part one, and then chapters. Part two, and then chapters. Right. So this might be. Let's go ahead and edit this, and we might call this um, part one, and then we'll go back to our book and let's add a new page. And this is going to be, to edit this, we're going to have chapter one, and then welcome to the world. So very simple minimalist writing experience. This is not going to have any world building in it. You can just keep adding new chapters. I'll go ahead, let's show you this other book. It has maybe a couple more chapters in it. Here we go, chapter one, chapter two, make a new section. If you have them, you can also upload pictures straight into here. So let's do that. Here we go. It's a beautiful looking experience if you're creating something like an ebook. And then what I really do like is the fact that once you do create a book, you can then share it with somebody else. So let's have a look at what this looks like. So if you've created like a free book that you want to give away, you can share it like this with them, and then they can have a pretty nice reading experience. And on mobile, I'm sure it's going to look really, really quite nice. So this is a really nice tool for writing very simply and sharing. In terms of world building, probably won't be as helpful. Going back over here, basically, out of all of these, I am not sure that I'm going to leave Obsidian. I think that it captures and does most of the things that I want it to do. But if there are other writing tools that I have not addressed that are out there that you have never seen or tested before, I hope that this video was helpful. Hit the like button. Tell me what you think down below. And if you want to change my mind on any one of these and tell me how it has been absolutely mind-blowing for you and your experience, that's great. I am still trying to decide on what my ideal writing workflow is like. And who knows, maybe for my next novel, I'll just want a different tool because it helps create a different frame of mind so that I can get into it. I hope this has been helpful. And again, if you have any others that you'd like me to look at, go ahead and drop them in the comments and we can all help each other out and inspire each other.